Well, since the Industrial Revolution, the world has been doing an experiment. We've been digging up fossil fuels and burning them and releasing carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. And for the longest time, we didn't think there was any problem with this. But in the last several decades, we've realized that we've done this so much that we're beginning to alter the climate. And therefore, we need to take steps now to reduce our emissions of CO2.
A lot of organizations view CO2 as a waste. We see it as a valuable commodity. So the financial returns are there. Their potential is huge to service an EOR market. So that's an established market. It's been around for 50 plus years using CO2 to produce oil. But it's constrained in growth from a lack of CO2 supply. So we can unlock that market potential. That's really the market that exists today and the kind of financial returns for our investors. The other side of it is reducing CO2 emissions for climate change. Being able to do that inexpensively, there's going to be a huge upside for that. So when policy comes about, we can also address the emissions point inexpensively.
The benefit to protecting our environment is very clear. We've got to reduce carbon emissions, and this is an essential part of it. In addition to that, capturing carbon dioxide and using it for enhanced oil recovery means in the coming decades, we can get the fossil fuels we want at lower costs, but again, with the long-term goal of the environmental protection.
Inventys is commercializing post-combustion capture technology based on a radically different approach, which is using solid materials, solid sorbents. So that's completely different from what's out there today. It enables us to unlock huge potential on both climate and oil production, and it's really the most cost-effective approach. So that's what's going to differentiate us for sure.
I think Inventys is developing one of the most important technologies, period. Because for us to move forward, we need to figure out how to run our economy without emitting as much CO2 as we are right now. So the Inventys technology allows us to capture CO2 much more cost effectively than anything that's been done before. And in fact, previous attempts, while technically successful, they did work in capturing CO2. These systems were far more expensive and far too big, and they were sort of energy hogs too. And so people never really seriously considered using them commercially. But finally, with the Inventys technology, which corrects for all those problems, now capturing CO2 can be cost effective today.
The Inventys technology is heading to a huge market for carbon capture, beginning with enhanced oil recovery, but as the world begins to really take seriously the risks of climate change, we will need to capture carbon from power plant sources, from cement plants, steel plants. And so it's necessary to protect the environment for not only ourselves, but our children and our grandchildren.
Investors who recognize the value proposition of VeloxoTherm technology, where we can recover CO2 and offer it as a commodity. It's a valuable product that's used every day in enhanced oil recovery, in oil production. And so we have big industry heavyweights who are in that space, who see that value here and have invested in the company for that purpose. But also those who understand the climate change benefits of being able to commercialize this technology. And so we've attracted kind of both ends of the spectrum of our investors.